Fact or fiction? Is there really a difference between a pre-qual or a pre-approval? And if you're a real estate agent, are there any things that you can do to ask a buyer, maybe a buyer from a lender you're not worked with before, or you're a listing agent, that you can do to make sure you're not one of these deals? I had a couple recently where people call me panicking because a deal's falling apart at closing and they're wanting me to step in to see if I can get it closed. Well, the best answer to that is just not to put yourself in that position. Also, we want to look at rates. The election's over. See, did anything change in interest rates positively or negatively, and are we going to get any help in 2025? Hey everyone, this is Rayce Robinson, your favorite Florida mortgage broker. In 22 years of lending, I've seen a lot of things change from technology. We used to do pre-quals by hand on a piece of paper with a calculator. In a way, I think that's good because I do understand the numbers, but now with computers and technology, you really don't have to do that. So how do you make sure that you're working with a buyer that's pre-approved and pre-qualified? Well, first of all, is there really a difference? Not really, meaning there's no actual Wikipedia or encyclopedia difference of pre-qual versus pre-approval. So I'm going to give you my definition. A pre-qual is what most of the market does. It's not make them good or bad. It's just some lenders are busy. Also, they understand that most of the people they talk to are not going to work out. They're not going to qualify, they're not going to get their offer accepted, or they're just going to decide not to buy. So doing quicker pre-quals allows you to talk to more clients and pre-qual people faster. And there obviously is an element of speed.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
That sometimes you do have to get a buyer pre-qualified faster, but I think it's a big mistake because if you just pre-qual someone, I think you're actually going to cost yourself more time once you get going. Now, pre-approval, in my opinion, is somebody that's went through the entire process. I look as a pre-approval, which is the only thing that we do where they are ready to go into underwriting. We're going to add the contract. We're going to push that into underwriting. Sometimes the files have already been in front of an underwriter, or we actually have what we call a DU or LP approval, meaning those files are completely ready to go, need the contract, and we're good. Reviewing all that documentation takes a lot more time. It's more work for the buyer, but we need to protect their deposit. Make sure we're giving them good information so they can be out there and succeeding. We also are spending almost double the time on pre-approvals right now because it's not just about what do they qualify for, it's about what programs do they qualify for. Why are we doing a particular program? And walking them through. A lot of buyers are anxious right now with rates being higher again and affordability, and walking them through a lot of the numbers, like what if they find a house that's $10,000 more than what they wanted? How does that affect the payment? And then we wrap that up, and this is important. There has to be some kind of system. We call it a pre-approval ceremony, where we take everything, put it in an email with their pre-approval letter, and spell out everything they need. Do they need help with closing costs? Can they go conventional? Are they qualifying for a special program? What those are, buyer knows what their numbers are, agent knows what their numbers are. Now, what if you're not working with somebody that isn't going to necessarily have that type of relationship with you? What can you do? The first thing I would say is Google that person. If they got no reviews, run for the hills. Right? If you got one offer, I understand you got to work with what you got, but it's good to know if they have no reviews, they're either new or they just don't care. And if you get reviews, which you should be, you know that takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. And as someone that has reviews, you're going to care if somebody has a bad experience. The second part is it just lets you know when you Google someone, you're going to see, do they have videos, do they have content? Now, you don't spend a million hours reviewing them, but it'll give you a feel for who they are. Now, when you call the lender, and you should call the lender, whether it's you're working with them as the buyer's agent or the listing agent, you should ask them a few questions. And the answer to these questions probably matter less than the conversation itself. Because look, the lender can lie, tell you whatever they want, right? And I say lender, I'm a mortgage broker, but what's it say mortgage professional? It's different but the same, but the person that's originating the loan is going to dictate the experience. And how they act is a big deal, how this transaction is going to go. So one, ask them how tight their ratios are. Ask them about the process. How soon do they order the appraisal? How soon do they order the insurance? And kind of get their process. Also ask who the players are. Do they have a loan partner, loan assistant? Who's the best person for you to reach out to? Now be careful. I wouldn't ask what's their credit score. You don't want to create an adversarial relationship with the lender. And in fact, if you do it right, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're actually going to have a better transaction. I love it when listing agents call me. I'm always trying to earn people's business. It gives me an opportunity to kind of show where I'm different and have a conversation that I can share the things that I'm allowed to share to give the agent the confidence to know that we're a good offer to be accepted. So remember, ask those questions. Also like to ask about, not just the process, not just who the players are, but I like to end with a question, because sometimes I'm selling real estate. Is there anything else I need to know about this buyer as far as the timing or that you'd want to share with me? Again, it just opens up the conversation. That'll let you judge if they're a good person to work with. At the end of the day, that's going to dictate how this really goes. Now, as far as debt ratios go, what's the big thing that's going to determine debt ratios? Well, that's interest rates. Well, I don't know about you, but I am certainly glad the election's over. But did it impact rates? And the answer is going to be probably whoever got elected wasn't really going to impact rates because, let's face it, the president does not really have a big impact on rates. It's the Fed. When we look at interest rates here, we've seen this big drive up in rates, right? And about the middle of 2024, on our way down, looking like the entire world. I'm saying every economist, everyone predicting we were going to maybe be in the mid fives. Now skyrocketing all the way back over 7%. Now, everyone's rate's going to be different. Credit score, down payment, are you buying it down? But just to point out, whatever your rate is, it's going to be a lot higher than it would have been a few months ago. And the answer to that's simple. The market is pricing in less rate cuts by the Fed. That means we're going to be higher for longer. You can see how fast things change. So we don't know for sure. But right now, rates are probably likely to be higher for longer, though they will be on their way down throughout next year. What do you do with that information? Simple. You never want to set your, what you need to do to be successful by interest rates. I would say I have this thing that I like to think of as the magic button, right? What is the magic button you push every day to get business, right? And I wish it was that simple because I would push it all the time. But for me, I'm very, very old school. Make a lot of phone calls, keep in touch with a lot of people, high communication. I'm always calling people in the transactions and keeping them up to date, old clients. Doesn't matter. I've heard realtors say, I don't make phone calls. Good. What is it that you do? And if you do it, how do you stand out, right? If you do social media, so what? So does everyone else. Are you doing quantity? Are you doing quality? What is your message? What is your call to action? So remember, I love talking about a daily success plan, but the easy way to think about that is at the end of every day, what does a perfect day look like? And what is the one activity you need to do every day to get business? And if that starts working and you get that down, here's an idea. Add a second thing that you do every day. And guess what? You don't need a million. You probably just need 2 or 3. Don't know what those are? Reach out to me. I'd love to help. This is Rayce Robinson, your favorite Florida mortgage broker. Whether it's a daily success plan, creative loan programs, or you just have a financing question, give me a call. And as more information becomes available that moves the market, as always, I'm going to cover it right here. Have a great day, great week, and I'll talk to you soon.